Hi, welcome to the Shelley Studio, and today I am doing the Our Mixed Media Moods Challenge for February. That was the mood board that is to inspire our project that I showed there at the beginning, and that is for the Facebook group Our Mixed Media Moods, so if you're interested in it, I will put a link in the description box below. I loved doing the texture last month, so I thought I would play with texture again. And I bought this, it's actually spackling paste, quite some time ago. It's like super cheap. It's a lot cheaper than the molding paste. Probably not the same kind of thing. This is super heavy with this much on there, but it's actually kind of fun to play with. So I had to stir it up because it had dried up a little bit, but it seems to be working now. And I'm just coating this piece of cardboard. I think all of my mixed media mood boards will be on this cardboard that I have a ton of, and then they'll all be the same size. But I'm just coating it, and I'm going to try and smooth it out here as much as possible. I actually have a metal ruler that has like a handle on it, kind of like a trowel. Is that how you say that? Anyways, so I use that to try and get it as smooth as possible. Of course, once I get it smooth, I'm going to draw marks in it. That's the whole deal with texture paste, right? Or molding paste. So I get that fairly smooth, and then I just take the back of a paintbrush and we are going to create a sort of a grid similar to one of the images on that mood board. I have sped this up quite a bit because this was a bit of a long process. So once that was done, I let it dry all the way, and now I'm giving it a coat of gesso. I want to be able to paint and stuff, and this stuff kind of absorbs everything. So even though I give it a coat of gesso, it still really soaks in whatever I put on it. About done putting the gesso on. Even with the gesso, it still absorbs quite a bit. There we go. And I let it dry, and now I'm spritzing it with water, and I'm going to actually attempt to paint it with my watercolors. This one color is Payne's Gray. And I want it to run, so I'm like hoping it will like run into the grooves and you'll see more of the texture. That was the plan anyway. And I take a little bit of the blue. I'm sorry, I don't know what shade of blue that is because this watercolor tray is from way before I started teaching or demonstrating anyway. So I didn't label it. Now I'm going to put a little bit of brown in there. Because there was a little bit of brown. There was also green in the mood board, but I liked the brown and the blue. And the Payne's Gray. Payne's Gray is like my favorite color. See how light it got after I let it dry? I think that was because it was watercolor. So now this is just craft paint, and the color is vanilla, I believe, and it's Craft Smart brand. And I'm just adding some white to those. I want it to look like there's paint on it. I don't want it to look like it's just the texture. If that makes sense. I don't know, does that make sense? I want it to look painted. And I'm sorry, it cut out a little bit, but this is Payne's Gray Craft Paint because I felt like the watercolor just wasn't showing up enough for me. So now we are doing craft paint and spritzing it with water to get it to run a little bit. because I really like those blended edges and not the harsh lines, so that's kind of the plan anyway. See how it just blurs when you spray that water on it? Alright, so I'm going back with the vanilla color again, just putting some more paint on there. I have a couple of bottles of the Off-White, so this one might be, might not be Craft Smart, it might be the Apple Barrel brand. I just grab whatever's closest. So I'm back in with the Payne's Gray, and this Payne's Gray is in Americana, but I can't find it anymore. I'm going to be very sad when it runs out, and I think I've said that before. Sorry. Alright, so now I want to put something else on there, and so these are cardboard from boxes, like I think it's a cracker box, and I am just mixing some black and some green, because I don't want it to look black, but I don't want it really green, so I don't know that you can really tell. And the plan is to cut them up into lots of squares. So at first I start, I wasn't worried that they were wonky, but at first I started making them all the same size, and then I decided we'd make them multiple sizes. And then I just toss them on there, and that is where they're going to be glued down. Now if there's ones overlapping, I'm going to eliminate the ones overlapping, but the rest of them will go right where they landed. And I skipped through that because that took a long time, gluing those all down. So I have a lot of leftover. I can use them on something else. It's been a couple weeks. I wonder where I put that. Alright. So now, I thought maybe they were too dark against the Payne's Gray, so I did the whole glazing thing, and I hated it. So here's me getting it really wet, wiping it off. I end up painting over it. I tried that a couple of times, never like it. And then I decide, well, we'll just add some brown to it. So I leave dark around the edges and then paint brown inside the squares. And yes, I did it to all the squares. And now I'm adding a little bit more of that brown into the background so that it's a little bit more cohesive, hopefully. I'm just putting it in there, spritzing it, letting it bleed out. And then somebody in my house got a gift with this ribbon on it, and it was kind of burlap-y looking, but not burlap. I thought, well, I'll just shred it a little bit, and we'll have frayed edges, and I'll stick it on there. Well, the edges didn't look very good, so I just took all the strands that I pulled out and used them instead. And then I decided I don't know what I was thinking when I put the glue across the top like that. I'm like, I'll just do that and flip it over. Well, that was easier said than done. So yeah, those are a bunch of threads from a ribbon. A crazy mess. Another thing they had on the mood board was old painted paintbrushes. Well, I don't have any old paintbrushes that I'm willing to sacrifice yet. I use them all in whatever condition they may be. So I decided I'd put some paint on some twigs because they did have some wood in that mood board. So I figured I'd paint the twigs, make them look like old painty paintbrushes, except for the twigs, and give them a few layers of different colors and put those on the mood board. And that piece of rope was already on that stick. I decided to leave it. It would make it a little bit more interesting. And I decided to grab a little bit of blue and add some blue to it as well. Needed to make it look like it was paint rather than natural, because the black and the brown was looking kind of natural. We want to get some unnatural colors in there a little bit. Okay, so now I have to decide where to put them. Can't put them directly in the middle, so I move them down just a little bit, and I think that's where we'll glue them on. I think my craft paint is getting a little hard. It's getting hard to squeeze out of the bottle. You don't see it, but I do secure it with a little bit more glue than that. But for time's sake, I edited that out. And now I decided I want to put a butterfly on it, so I drew out this butterfly. It's on deli paper, but I didn't trace it, and you can tell because the wings are not exactly the same size. I should have folded the paper in half and drew half a butterfly, and then they'd match on both sides. I guess it's a little bit more realistic if they're not quite the same shape, right? And this watercolor paper is 300-pound watercolor paper. It was a scrap piece that I had. I was gifted with a few huge sheets of this really good watercolor paper, and this is just a scrap piece that I had from one of the pieces I was working on. And I thought this would hold up pretty good on that board. It's pretty stiff paper. So here I'm adding more Payne's Gray. I decided to do the outline and stuff with the Americana Payne's Gray craft paint. And I do a lot of fiddling with this butterfly. Until I get it the way I want it. Well, and I think it might look a little bit more like a moth in the end, but I think it was a butterfly I took the design from. Alright, so now I decided to add the vanilla color craft paint to the large area on those wings, and I kind of cover up the stripy lines. I didn't really care for them that much. So I just kind of go over them and mute them a bit. So I did add a little bit more dark in there. I'm sorry, it kind of skipped a little bit, but this video is long enough as it is, don't you think? So I'm putting more dark on there, kind of covering up some more of those lines that I just didn't really care for. Just blending it in. I think adding that black just kind of intensifies the butterfly a little bit. And you can do it all with black and white. You don't even have to have crazy colors. Alright, so we're going to cut that out now and figure out where we're going to put that on our piece. So yeah, I do put it all over the place, trying to decide where I want it. Kind of want it right in the center, but I know you're not supposed to put things dead center necessarily. I guess you can if you have a really super good design, you can. But I think that's where we decide to put it. And I use my E6000 glue. I do struggle with it a bit here, so it kind of cuts out because it was being very difficult. But there's the finished piece and a few close-ups. I hope you liked that. If you did like it, please hit like. Feel free to share, comment. I'd love to hear your comments. And if you'd like to see more from me, please subscribe. Thanks for watching.